From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome to Local Point, brought to you by Ashley Regional Medical Center. I'm your host, Chris Piner. Joining me in the studio today, we have Bo Hunter, the UDOT spokesperson, and we're going to talk a little bit about the road construction project going on here in Vernal today, right?
Yes, we are.
Bo, tell us just a little bit about yourself to start us off.
I work for UDOT. I do a lot of public involvement, public information services around the state, and US 40 Vernal Main Street happens to be one of my projects this summer.
Very good. Now I'm guessing that people will piece it together, and they've probably all heard of UDOT, but what is UDOT?
UDOT's the Utah Department of Transportation, and we oversee all of the state and federal routes throughout the state of Utah. So US 40 just happens to be one of the federal highways that we manage and oversee and maintain throughout the state.
All right, so you're taking the whole stretch?
We're not taking it, but we are working
your
on
work
it.
on the whole stretch.
Yeah, pretty much everything from Vernal on the west end through Naples, we're going to do what's called a resurfacing. So starting out by Lowe's, 1500 South area is where the project limit starts on the west side, and then we go to State Route 45 in Naples, and so that's kind of your project limit.
All right, all right, and work has already begun. We've seen trucks, and it seems to be, from my point of view, relatively painless.
Well, that's good to hear. There is a lot of work happening, and a lot of work has been accomplished to date. So we did start around 1500 West, and we've been working towards Naples, and we're trying really to focus on the downtown area, try to get out of the business way and try to get out of your way for a number of celebrations we'll talk about more. But what we're really trying to do is come in and rebuild the surface, so to say, the driving surface. And so we're coming in, we're removing approximately 3 inches of asphalt, and then we're replacing it not quite with 3 at the moment. So you might see some bumps out there, especially on the cross streets as you're driving through. But so we'll remove that, we'll replace it with asphalt, and we'll come back in and do a final pavement overlay. It's kind of a driving surface and stripe, and that'll come towards the end of the project.
All right. Now, I thought I saw cement. Is that, am I imagining things?
You're not. There's a number of areas where we're using cement. As far as driving surfaces go, at Vernal Avenue and 500 West, we have reconstructed those intersections in concrete. And the reason we've done that is there's a lot of truck traffic that comes through there. And so anytime you have heavy equipment turning and stopping in an area, even driving through an area, it can create rutting and really raise havoc on asphalt. And so by building it in concrete, we get a longer life. It'll be less impactful to businesses because we won't have to come in as often to work in those areas.
All right. Now you mentioned some of the celebrations that are coming up this time of the year. How might this impact those?
It really shouldn't. Our operations right now are primarily at night, and we talked about the concrete intersections. They were being done during the day, and we're completed with those. They've been done for a little while now, actually ahead of schedule. So they're out of the way and pretty much just nighttime operations, and so we shouldn't be impactful except maybe for some passerbys, people driving through at night, or maybe after the rodeo at night. Depending on where we're working, we're going to try to be closer to Naples during that time. But after you leave the rodeo, you might want to look for information, be aware of where our crews are, so you can avoid those areas of impact.
Right. Now, most of us out here are aware of the construction that was going on in Roosevelt. Were you also part of that?
I didn't work on that project, but I've heard a lot about it. I've heard, the public.
Was it a standard operation?
It's a little bit of a different. This is more of a maintenance-based operation where we're just trying to protect the existing roadway.
Right.
Vernal City came in and did some utility work underneath. You may have seen that happening earlier in the year. I believe March and April they did some water line work, especially in the intersections that were going to concrete.
They were preparing for you
for
the next phase.
Exactly. They were getting ready for us. And so the Vernal project is much different because we're not doing a lot of underground work.
Right.
You'll see in some areas we have some drainage operations happening where we're putting in some catch basins to catch water, roadway surface water, and store it underground. But other than that, most of our work is happening on top, and so it's not quite, it doesn't take as long. We don't have big open trenches, and so the work's just much quicker and not as impactful to the traveling public or to the businesses in the community.
I noticed that you've been doing a lot of work at night as well. It seems to be where it's really kicking up. And
yeah, the majority of our work actually is done at night and will continue to be done at night. And so all of our paving operations, we come in with a mill We're milling off that 3 or 4 inches like I talked about. It's all done at night, and then we come back in and pave that same night. And so when you come and drive it in the morning, you might see a little uneven lane, but you shouldn't see, workers, particularly after about 6:30 in the morning.
Right, right. I think that's the way it's been. Pretty painless, really, for something that we're a Highway 40 here in Vernal is also the main street. Same type of situation in Roosevelt. It does have a big impact all of a sudden on a community, but I think you guys have done a great job.
Well, thank you.
I speak for most everybody. So.
Good. That's good to hear. That's good news to us. That's what we're trying to do, and we try to accommodate the public as best we can, and by working at night, we're not impacting the traveling public, and less impact on the businesses, not as much as if we were here during the day.
Right. Oh, I appreciate that. All right, well, we'll be right back to hear more from Bo Hunter after a message from our sponsor, Ashley Regional Medical Center.
Hello, I'm Cy Hutt. I'm the CEO at Ashley Regional Medical Center. You know, these days you hear the word quality a lot in advertising, but there's a big difference between talking about quality and practicing it. At Ashley Regional Medical Center, quality means 2 things. First, customer service. We hold ourselves accountable for giving each individual patient a positive healthcare experience. The results? In an inpatient satisfaction survey from the end of 2011, Ashley Regional scored better than 70% of U.S. hospitals. Second, quality is following nationally recognized clinical standards. The leading organization in America for setting and monitoring quality standards is the Joint Commission. In fact, Medicare uses the Joint Commission to ensure that its policies and rules are in effect, to protect patient safety as well as improve treatment results. Ashley Regional Medical Center has been Joint Commission accredited since 1996 and is the only hospital in Northeast Utah accredited by the Joint Commission. So what does this mean to you? When you need hospital care, you can be confident that Ashley Regional is committed to and delivers quality care to you and your loved one.
In my world, I need a phone that works. Sure, some folks might want the latest fancy phone, but at the end of the day, if my phone can't make a call where I work, it's nothing more than a shiny piece of useless metal.
With more cell sites locally than any other carrier, Strata Networks can proudly claim the most advanced and reliable wireless network in the Uinta Basin. Strata Networks. We work where you work.
Welcome back to Local Point. Joining me is Bo Hunter, spokesperson for UDOT. Utah Department of Transportation. We've been talking a little bit about the project that's going on Highway 40, specifically right now in the Vernal area.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the program overall, and there have been some improvements, right, as well. So let's talk a little bit about some of those as far as even just off the road a little bit, right? Sidewalk and gutter. And
you may not have noticed because it's we're not out in the roadway, we're not impeding traffic, but we have been working, and it actually started early on in a number of areas to replace some sidewalk, some curb and gutter, pedestrian ramps, make them more ADA accessible, and really what we're after too is to try to improve drainage. And so anywhere there was water pooling on the roadway from a storm or irrigation that might be coming down the curb and gutter, we've tried to fix that, and so there won't be standing water on the roadway.
There's quite a bit of study that goes into something like this before you move in. You must have somehow known about these standing water pools and other problems like that. How'd you do that?
Well, we monitor the roads continually. We have maintenance crews that oversee and watch, and so they're pretty familiar with the roadway in the area. We also are working really closely with Vernal City to make sure if they're aware of any needs, any areas where there's problems, and also where you have standing water, it typically will affect the roadway underneath, and so sometimes visually you can see that there's a problem. So there's a number of ways to go about it, and we identified a number of hot spots that we wanted to take care of as part of this project, and most of that work is done. There's a little bit of curb and gutter work and a little bit of sidewalk work remaining, but a majority of it's done.
All right. Now, as far as studies go, this is a little bit off, maybe a little off topic. What about traffic? It sure seems like we have a lot more traffic in this neck of the woods than we ever have before. Is that something you keep an eye on? Or?
Yeah, we actually track it really closely, and as you mentioned, we're working at night, and that's based on traffic numbers, and so we do traffic studies and monitoring and watch to see when and where the traffic is and where it turns, where it's going, how much the volumes are, and then that kind of dictates some of our schedule and where and what time of the day we want to work to try to minimize delays is really what we're after.
You keep an eye on Highway 40 all the time, not just during construction.
Yeah, and it's not, you know, every day continually nonstop, but, you know, we knew this project was coming. We wanted to prepare for it, and so we took traffic numbers, and, you know, nighttime the numbers are really low, and it was a good time to get in and do the work.
Well, let's talk about the sequence. What's going on, what's coming up, and what your plans are to wrap things up.
Yeah, it might seem strange to some of the traveling public or to some of the members of the community. We're working primarily in the downtown area right now, trying to get that done for your festivities and kind of the summer, you know, active season. You have parades, you have the rodeo. We want to get done with the downtown area, at least the majority of our work, and get out of your way so you guys can celebrate and not feel, you know, impacts from our project. So you're going to see majority of that work get done here in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be working towards Naples in that area. Once that work gets done, we'll come in and do a final pavement overlay. It's about 1.5 inches. We'll take care of a lot of those bumps that they may see out there now.
Smooth it all out.
Yeah, get it all smoothed out, and then we'll go in and do the piece on the west side, which is between Lowe's and 1500 West. I think that's where the Holiday Inn Express sits, and so that segment will actually be the last to take place, and it'll go through September sometime is when that will wrap up.
So that's really projected to go all through the summer and right up into the beginning of school.
It is, yeah. We're going to go right through the summer and into September a little bit. Not sure exactly when our end date will be, but as we have more information, we will be providing that as part of our public outreach campaign to local residents, businesses, and commuters.
So all you can do, the best you can do is project. You said on some things you're actually ahead of schedule, but you never know what could happen that could change that. So
yeah,
that's a pretty good projection. Let's talk a little bit about, you seem so conscientious. I think this is wonderful for you know, the civilian out of UDOT person like me to know how conscientious you are. What is this? You've got quite an outreach program, and you're contacting people. You've studied. You've done your homework, and you're really trying to, as you said, stay out of everybody's way.
Yeah, you know, at UDOT we realize that you know,
you've learned from the past. I'm thinking
we have. That's really we've taken feedback from the public, and we realize that if you're stuck in traffic or if you can't get into your business, that's impacting your bottom line. And one of our goals is to strengthen the economy. One of the things we focus on every year, and it's pretty hard to do that if people can't get to work or get from work or get to their business. And so we really try to keep people informed so they can make educated decisions, and they can work around us as much as we're trying to work around them.
What are some of the ways you're keeping people informed? How does that happen?
Well, before the project started, we did a mailer, and we mailed everybody adjacent to the corridor and within about 300 feet either side, trying to get to everybody that would need to drive on Highway 40 for sure. We also held a public meeting prior to construction to let people come and ask questions and get information about the project.
And you're continually giving updates.
We are. We do a regular weekly update. We have a website through the UDOT site where they can go and get updates on that. And then we also do, we manage a hotline. So if you had an immediate emergency, you could call our hotline and get a hold of us, and we'd respond in a short amount of time.
Bo, it seems like you and UDOT and your whole crew have put a lot of thought into this, and it seems to me that it's going great so far. We only have a few seconds left, but how many people are out here working on this project? There's quite a crew moving in at night, isn't there?
I don't know the exact number,
idea?
but I would think there's around 100 people working on the project.
That'd be big trucks and a whole caravan, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching today's show. That's all for now. Please join us next time right here on VTV Channel 6.